Good morning. It's a beautiful 6:30 in the morning on Thursday, August 28th. I wanted to provide some updates to you guys in regards to the last update video that I made, as well as some of the other time-lapse stuff and some of the other stuff that I've mentioned in the last video. So the last update I made, I talked about the time lapse and how sometimes I'm usually busy and I can't always take a photo. Yeah, that's essentially still the same. Sometimes I don't remember to take a photo. Sometimes I am too self-conscious to take a photo. And that's why most of the time when I do take a photo, it's usually in the bathroom or in the comfort of my own home. So yeah, I have a lot of catching up to do in terms of this project because as you just heard, I don't always take a picture every day. But um, I've gotten the last 8 months done in the last 2 days, and that was because um, I've gotten up early in the morning and I've worked on the time lapse. I put like a podcast on in the background, or today I put on like those lo-fi hip hop beats or whatever to study, relax to, or whatever, which was surprisingly effective. I went through 4 months of photos and got that done pretty quick, so I was very proud of myself. The next time lapse will be uploaded soon. I just wanted to get those photos all lined up, and then I will make the final touches tomorrow, and then it should be on its way to YouTube. Um, so if you just wanted to know about the time lapse, that's basically the end of that. Um, the next few things are going to be about lifestyle, and lifestyle, and a couple of other um, items that I wanted to talk about. So the biggest life update so far was I had a bit of a transition between aviation survival technician school and health services technician school. Um, the long story short is that I went to AST prep school and I decided that the what was required of me and the job that I was going for was not for me. So I decided to switch career paths and I became a Coast Guard corpsman or a military nurse, if you will. Um, Another thing that happened was my wife and I are married now. I probably should have said my fiance and I are married now, but she's now my wife. Um, Long story short, when I did the last video, they were my fiance, and then once I was finished up with school, I went down to California. We went to the courthouse, got married, and then we moved all of their stuff up here, and so now we're living together, which is great. There have been some financial hurdles here and there. The short end of it was I kind of got shortchanged on a two-bedroom house up here. Um, so important thing to note whenever you're renting, go see the property before you sign any pieces of paper that said that you are legally binding to this. Luckily, the property management was cool about it. They also realized they bought a sinking ship. So despite putting like basically $100,000 worth of renovations into the house, it still was not good enough for the market. And so they tried to spike it up for the next, they tried to spike up the rent to the next sucker that would come in, which was me. I was there for about 3 months and then I basically said, hey, there's too many problems with this house. I would like to terminate our lease. And so I was also getting in touch with a lawyer at the time to see if there was like just basically some backup or some loophole or something that they could have helped me out with. I never got a call back, but it didn't matter because the property management was cool about letting go of my lease, giving me back my security deposit, and only having me pay half the rent for the time that I was there. So shout out to the property management company that I worked with. But now I'm in government housing. I don't have to pay for rent. I just get a paycheck I get basic pay from the government along with a little bit extra for food and uniform maintenance. Um, but other than that, My financial situation is okay at the moment. I did receive money from my grandmother passing away, which, there's a whole trust issue with that. So I can't really go into details here because that's my family's business, not mine. But long story short, I was given some money and now I have less of that money. So that's great to know. But I still plan on getting a new car, or I should say newer car, because I want to be able to be ready for the lifestyle of building a family, which I'll talk about later. Um, some lifestyle changes that I've made. So before I was drinking a lot. I used to be able to go through an entire liter and a half bottle of vodka in 2 nights, without vomiting, which I thought was really crazy. Um, but now I've sort of shifted away from that kind of lifestyle because first off, my wife and I don't really like to drink all that much. And when we do, it's just wine and it's only like one or two glasses every month or so. So that's great. Nutrition and exercise. The exercise was okay when I was going through survival technician school, or at least the prep for it. I was doing a lot of body weight workouts. I wasn't really doing a whole lot of weightlifting, and then I was doing a lot of high intensity interval training um, as well as a lot of cardio, swimming, running, um, and then stuff like pull-ups, push-ups, body weight, lunges, whatnot. So I was doing a lot of that stuff. Uh, rower, ski machine. The the worst one was probably the Versa Climber. I can get into that some other time. But yeah, and then I had some mental ups and downs. When I was at my last unit, I kind of felt very alienated. And I can go into like more details about this sort of stuff in the next video. Um, but I also figured I also just realized I wrote up a very good list of things that I could make separate videos about, so I can just brush over them here, and then if you guys want, I can go into more detail in another video. Because this video is already 7 minutes and I have to get going to work soon. Um, so I've had my ups and downs in my last unit. It kind of paired well with the drinking, and now I mean, there's still some ups and downs, especially financially speaking, because I didn't really feel like I was managing my finances well. I'm starting to work towards managing them better, or at least allocating some of my spending towards things that I know will benefit me in the future. Um, so stuff like um, I know stocks are kind of like a big iffy like investment, but I've invested more in exchange trading funds, and I've had some mutual bonds for a while, and before I used to use them for college, but then instead of liquidating it altogether, I decided that I actually try to add more money to it because now that I'm in the military, it doesn't really cost me that much money to go to school. So I figured my kids could probably benefit from having a mutual bond that their dad basically never touched. So um, I was I'm in the process of being able to add more funds to those so that way they can accrue in value and then over time they can basically just pay for themselves. Um, so I have some plans for my financial future, but they're not perfect yet, but they will be at some point. I still get a paycheck once every 2 weeks, so as long as that continues to happen, I should be fine. I'm not worried about getting kicked out of my own house at some point because I signed on for 4 years and I have an extension, and that 4 year mark is coming up, but I will definitely be signing 4 more years of my life away, especially since I took the service wide for health services technician not too long ago. And hopefully the cutoff list will come out and I will hopefully be above the cut to make second class and make a little bit more money. Um, Diet and exercise have definitely improved a lot. I didn't really measure out my food. I didn't really consider like the macros that I was intaking every day. But now I use my fitness pal to track all my meals. I have a fitness coach, nutrition and fitness coach, who gives me workouts for the week, gives me a diet plan for the week, and I basically just follow that, and I've lost 30 pounds within the last 6, 7 months, so pretty stoked about that. Um, I haven't been playing video games as much because I spend a lot of time with my wife. I hate to say it, I love my wife and I like spending every waking second I can with her. But she gets kind of annoyed with me, so sometimes I come down here and I play video games and then I go back upstairs and then we just fall asleep together. Um, Speaking of content, I know that this channel has been mainly dedicated to the time lapse, but it does say Pat does things, not Pat does a thing, and then hopefully rides that out for the rest of his life. So if I'm willing to get up this early in the morning and create content, I should at least be, I could probably put out a video or two every once in a while and just be like, hey, this is what I want to talk about today. Or like I was saying, I play video games, so I could probably upload. Um, like I play a lot of Wild Frost. I play a lot of Overwatch. I've recently been getting back into Plants vs Zombies 2. Um, Recently, my friends and I have been playing this game called Peak or Guilty as Sock. I got a couple of other single player games that I could be getting into. But the long story short of it is I could definitely be uploading more content. I could definitely be talking to you guys more about what's going on in my life. I can definitely hear your guys' input about what you guys have experienced and if I can either implement that in my life or if there's something that you guys are going through and I've either experienced something similar um, or if you just want my advice on something, I can definitely throw a comment at you and be like, hey, this is what I think is up. And I don't want to put you on full blast or anything in like a YouTube video like, hey, this guy got his pants pulled down. This is what I think of that. I'm just saying, like, this is Pat does things, not Pat does a thing. I feel like I should be doing more than one thing on this channel. Um, so if you guys like the idea of me putting out more content, it'd be great to hear your feedback. Something I did touch lightly on in the last update was my temporary shave waiver, shave profile, shave chit, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's a thing that basically says in the military, I don't have to shave all the way down to my skin. I can have just like a little bit of beard going. Um, so for a while, I was dealing with something called pseudofolliculitis barbae, and I can make a separate video based on like my experience with that. Um, but essentially, um, it it just translates to razor bumps. Like a lot of people when they shave, especially if they have curly hair, their hair like grows out and then it curls back into their skin and then it causes like some inflammation or like these huge like ingrown hairs to build up in their skin and then the just kind of it gets really bad. You can Google it. You can Google it if you know how to spell it. Um, so I was dealing with that for a while. My last unit, I was basically at the point where they were going to refer me to dermatology. But they just wanted to see, like, they wanted my skin to heal up, and then they were going to see if it happened again. They were going to refer me to dermatology. But by the time I went back, I was going to go to A school. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just do it in my next unit. So went to my next unit. Basically, the same thing happened. They let my skin heal. They let me have a temporary waiver. And then by the time I was going to go back for dermatology, I went to my next unit. So I was like, okay. Um, so now this time around, um, I finally went, talked to my doctor about it. And long story short is after some dermatology visits, different kinds of ointments, I, um, I now have a permanent shave waiver in the works. So I will probably have a full beard in the next video. Um, Another thing I'll touch on is time allocation. Basically, what I choose to spend my time on. So I realized that I would wake up in the mornings and I would come down here and I wouldn't really do anything crazy. I'd just either play video games or watch YouTube videos or watch Netflix and stuff like that. And I feel like I could be doing more with my time, especially if I want to, if I have this channel that I've had for like over 5 years and I want to like grow it, especially with like the current financial stint that I'm in and I want to make a passive source of income. Um, I'm pretty good at talking. I'm pretty good at yapping. I know a thing or two about like, the medical world, but Um, yeah, so I want to allocate my time towards content creation in the morning. What I've been interested in essentially is since I like to talk, um, I figured that doing audiobooks, voiceovers, or voice acting would be a good avenue for me to go down. And I know this microphone is not built for it. Uh, I have a Rode Line 1A, I think it's called. I have a pretty fancy studio mic that my cousin gave me. Um, but the pop filter broke, so I had to replace that. And then I moved into this place, and there's hardwood floor, and there's nothing covering the walls. So if you know anything about sound treatment, you will know that that is not a great setup. So I should really put some money into buying like some sound foam for the walls. But and I should also probably be hanging up some of these pictures that I have behind me. But I just I hate spending money on things I don't feel like I need. But I at some point it has to be done. And so what's to come? Uh, so I mentioned that I took the service wide and I will hopefully make second class. That means I can make more money um, by either doing the same thing that I'm already doing or doing a little bit more by not just teaching the third classes how to do their jobs, but also taking on more responsibilities and more difficult tasks. Like right now, I'm in laboratory, and all I essentially do is I spin blood, I send it out to Laboratory Corporation for them to test. But I basically procure it. I make sure in the system that it gets transferred properly, and then I also make sure that the right tests are ordered. I make sure that all the equipment and all of the supplies that we need are there. I make sure that the lab is clean and sanitary. I've made sure that all of the standard operating procedures are up to date in accordance with Coast Guard, in accordance with Center for Disease Control, World Health Organization, a bunch of other associations that I have to keep up with. But yeah, that was pretty stressful. We had a like big inspection not too long ago, and I am pleased to say that my department had no flaws whatsoever. We had a flawless inspection. So I was like, well, shit, I'm pretty good at this. Um, so there's that, and then obviously I mentioned my marriage, my courthouse marriage, but now we're getting ready for the ceremony, the big ceremony that we're gonna do in Southern California. All of our friends and family are gonna be there. It's gonna be a great time. The problem is that it's expensive and it's hard to plan, and it's stressing me and my wife out. And we probably should have gotten a wedding planner, but my wife does not like other people getting their hands into something that they want to procure themselves. And on top of that, we're also going to be building a family at some point. I think I mentioned at some point that I wanted to get a bigger car. One of the cars that I wanted to get was the Toyota 4Runner. I know, I'm a big fanboy of Toyota, and my wife and my mother-in-law suggested that I look into Subaru, and specifically the Subaru Ascent because it's got heated cloth seats, it's got all-wheel drive, towing capacity of 5,000 pounds or 5 tons, and it's also got a backup camera. Uh, I'm just saying, I just want the big angry car. Please let me get the big angry car. But the big angry car is expensive because it's a good car. The Subaru is also a good car and it's cheaper and it's safer. But I'm not a lesbian. I'm not a street racing dirt rat. Um, and I'm also not a hippie, so I don't fall under the category of people who own Subarus. Um, but yeah, and then lastly, the content stuff. Yeah, I basically just wanted to make more content like this where um, every once in a while I just come down, I start talking to the camera or talking to a microphone, or I play a video game with OBS turned on. Probably not any live streaming because I wouldn't. really be planning anything like that out very well because I hardly ever have time to come on the computer, let alone like play hours upon hours of a single video game. So I say seldom content, but I just mean like more like occasionally I'll put something out there like this. So this has been 20 minutes long. This is the fifth time that I've tried to make this video. I hope you got all the way through. If you got to this point, thank you for watching or listening or just putting this on in the background while you like do the dishes or something. It means a lot to me. And thank you for being subscribed to the channel if you're not. Um, if you're not already, you probably should because I'm trying to put out more content. Uh, and the time-lapse video should be up tomorrow. If not, it'll probably be up sometime within the next 2 weeks or something. And then hopefully the 2026 update will be ready on time. I just know I have a lot of time at the end of the year because I'll be here. I'll be by myself for the holidays, but it'll be fine. All right. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time.